What's up, guys? It's your boy Big Dave here. And, what the hell was that? That was probably one of the worst fight cards I've ever seen. Things like this make it really hard for me to dedicate a Saturday to watching this sport. It's the only sport I follow. So when things like this happen, it really deflates me. You know, I've been watching the UFC since like 2009. And I don't remember ever feeling this way. And I've seen some pretty bad cards back in the day, like a Pat Cummins main event. I've seen some pretty bad cards, but for some reason, I don't know if it's just the fact that I'm getting older. You know, maybe I'm an old head, maybe I'm an unk now. But I don't remember a time when cards got this bad. And it's not even just the matchups. It's just that we had how many different fights from what I picked? So we had Balaji versus Marco Medeiros got canceled. Oban Elliott versus Ramiz Brahimaj got canceled. Andreas Gustafsson versus Jeremiah Wells got canceled. Siak Hyun Ko versus Billy Ray Goff got canceled. Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber were there and then got canceled at the last second. So I'm not even going to run through this card. I didn't do too good, and I honestly don't care. I'm glad I didn't put too much effort into this card because I literally couldn't care less and would like this card to be erased from memory. And if we could all just forget it didn't happen, I think it would be a better place. But Macy Barber has a seizure and doesn't walk and happens like instantly, or not instantly, sorry, but like right before the walkouts, she just seizes up and then the fight's canceled. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, after the Gamrot fight, I was already kind of just like, I was just over watching it, so I was kind of doing some other stuff, hanging out with the family and stuff. And then I checked Tapology to try to see, you know, if round one was in progress or the walkouts are happening, and it just says Mateusz Gamrot defeats Ludovic Klein. It has no mention of Macy Barber or Aaron Blanchfield. So I go, go online. Turns out she pulls out. Then it turns out that it's a seizure, and then Aaron Blanchfield just shits on her on the post-fight press conference, which, you know, I think the reason she did is probably because, you know, Macy Barber comes across as very arrogant. And when you act like that, you know, when you talk shit like this, everything you do is now under a microscope and people are ready to shit on you. You know, Conor McGregor never pulled out of a fight, you know. Well, you know, at least in the past. He ran his mouth, said he was going to be the GOAT, going to be the best. But he showed up to fight. And broken or whatever, torn knee, fought Chad Mendes. Like, he showed up. And so he got respect. But I guess when you are going to go that route of being a little bit of a shit talker and you're trying to promote yourself, you can't have things like this happen. You can't miss weight, even if it's a half pound. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, and I agree. It's really, like, she tried to make the weight, but you just can't. You can't run your mouth like that and not perform. You just can't do that. That's how hype dies, and that's how self-doubt starts building. Because I could be wrong. Maybe I'm playing armchair psychologist here, but it seems like people like to talk themselves up. Gives them confidence to say things out loud. So when you say these things and you build that confidence and you fail to execute and you fail to deliver, that's when confidence can get really wrecked. So we're going to see if she can come back from this, but I had picked her to win, and I'm so glad the fight didn't happen because she probably would have gotten fucked up, and I would have looked really dumb. So yeah, man, Macy Barber has a seizure, doesn't show up. And this card just sucked, man. I mean, Balaji versus Michael Aswell was cool. They went and boxed and, you know, had a nice little decent back and forth. Ryan Dos Santos versus Alice Ardeline was somehow the best fight on the card. And Ryan Dos Santos has no defense whatsoever. I don't know how she's in the UFC. It just shows how shallow these divisions are. She can't defend her head. She has no head movement. She has no defense with her hands. She can't parry. She can't block. She throws a punch and leaves her big-ass head up there with her hand down and gets cracked over and over. Now, shout out Alice Artling because she took advantage of it. She just looked stronger and bigger and just kind of worked her the whole fight. Yeah, it was a good fight, I guess, if you just like people having the same exact exchange basically over and over and over. And if you don't care about seeing anybody learn or do anything good, then yeah, that's a good fight. And if that floats your boat, hey, you know, good for you, I guess. Then maybe you should go watch bum fights because you can find the exact same thing there. Kurt Holloway just got instantly submitted by Jordan Levitt. That's a bad pick on my part. Shout out Jordan Levitt, man. And he didn't twerk on him, which is nice. But yeah, he just basically easily took him down. And, you know, Kurt Holloway held onto that single leg. Even when freaking Jordan Levitt grabbed his neck, he just wouldn't let go of it. And then Jordan Levitt turns it into, I think, anaconda or a ninja choke. No, not a ninja choke. I think it was an anaconda. I don't think it was a Darce. And just puts him to sleep. I think it was less than 2 minutes. So, yeah, you know, that was cool. Caitlin Vieira versus Macy Chasson. That's a fight that happened. Ramiz Brahimaj beat Billy Ray Goff by ninja choke. That was cool. That was a nice submission, even though, again, the fight didn't have really any moments. It was kind of just, you know, takedown, a little bit of scramble, grab the neck, out cold. Alan Nascimento beat Jafel Filho by decision. Basically, they had a back-and-forth grappling match. I'm surprised that Filho was so adamant about grappling when he seemed to have the better striking. I mean, he had the better boxing. And, you know, Nascimento has a really bad habit of backing himself all the way to the cage, not giving him any retreat. So he basically will just be standing on the cage, and you know he's either going to duck down for a takedown or block and then try to clinch or something, you know. Not a great boxer, good kicks, but that didn't even matter because Jafel Filho got him down the first round and basically, you know, controlled him for the whole first round. And then the second and third, Nascimento would just reverse positions and hold top control, do zero damage, not set up any submissions. He was trying to use that arm triangle to pass him out, but Jafel Filho's a good grappler. So it just turned into Nascimento dominating position, and that's pretty much it. And I think if Filho could have gotten any sort of offense going, he could have stole this fight. But, you know, Nascimento's a big guy for the division. He's got some good movement. He's got some tricky kicks. But, you know, just an underwhelming fight. Even the grappling wasn't, like, super amazing. So, yeah, whatever. Zach Rees versus Dusko Todorovic had a good first round, and then both dudes were just completely exhausted. And just, it was all right. You know what I mean? I'm glad Zach Rees isn't playing guard as much as he used to. That Paul Craig type game. So I'm hoping that he can get a little better. He's so big for the division. I don't know why he doesn't have a jab. It's things like that, you know. I don't know if it's a training thing or he just doesn't feel comfortable with it, but 6'4" at middleweight and you don't have a jab at all. He just doesn't. That is really bad, and that's going to hold him back big time until he learns that, hey, I'm a giant. I can just stick my arm out over and over, and people will just run into it. It's not like he's slow. He's not super fast, but he's not slow. If he just mixes up some feints with that jab and starts using it to set up his big right hand, he'll be a monster. But until then, he's going to run into these kind of fights where he can't build his game, where it's just like he would land a combination and then do the stupid Dustin Poirier pull up the shorts and that shit. I know a lot of you guys, you young kids, are like, oh, Dustin, you know, the short pull up is cool. We are not alike. That's all I'll say. So yeah, you know, that was cool. Dustin Jacoby, the one saving grace on this card. My boy goes out there and just fucking puts a beating on Bruno Lopez. Man, he just beat his ass. Hurt him, got him against the cage. and then was just flurrying on him while Bruno Lopez was dazed and was trying to reach and grab, and Dustin Jacoby was not having any of that, and just put them things on him and put him out. So shout out Dustin Jacoby, the saving grace of the card. Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein. He just kind of smushed him for 3 rounds. It's a Gamrot fight. There's not very much damage. There's not very much. You see him, and you would think with his game that every time he got a takedown, you'd be like, oh, shit, like Gamrot got a takedown. But instead, it's like, oh, Gamrot got a takedown. Well, there goes 2 minutes of the round. He's going to hold this guy down. He's not going to do any ground and pound, and he's not going to submit him. So, and then the third round, he kind of tried to go in there and throw some punches with Klein, but by then they were both tired. Not a whole lot of threat from either guy at that point. Klein's still dangerous because he'll chuck that left high kick up, but his game is fundamentally kind of busted. I think he needs a new gym because he has all the athletic potential in the world, but it's like he's just out there trying to trick people instead of having a game that's like reliable. So, but Gamrot, man, his game is reliable. It's not fun, in my opinion. A lot of people like it. Like some grappling. I like grappling too. I am a grappler, but I like when someone's working towards a finish. I would even respect someone who loses positions if he would just ground and pound. That's all I want. It's just a little ground and pound, man. But Klein's super dangerous and explosive, so maybe Gamrot's just felt like, this kid is dangerous. He's too fast. I need to wear him out. And then in the third round, unfortunately, he's tired as well, so it's not like he could just put the gas on Klein and finish him. So, vintage Gamrot performance. And that's the main event. It was a secret Mateusz Gamrot main event. Because Macy Barber, of course, has a seizure, and I hope she's okay. Obviously, I we all talk shit, and we all, like to see people eat humble pie, but we don't want no one to fucking die. Like, no one wants someone to die doing this sport, and if you do, you might want to get yourself checked out, because you got something wrong with you. But yeah, that's the whole card. Thank God it's over. We got past it, and now it's on to the most anticipated fight of all time, Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley 2, with the second most anticipated fight of all time. And y'all know who it is. It's Patchy Mix versus Mario Batista. Anyways, alright guys, that's going to do it. This shit sucked and was very deflating. And I'm really glad I didn't waste much time trying to break these fights down. But I'll be coming at you guys tomorrow with my UFC 316 predictions. And, we'll get through it, guys. I appreciate you for watching. This has been Big Dave. Take it easy.